First of all, it's completely free for a lot of use cases. You've got Grok 2, 3. I use 3 because it's the smartest. There's Super Grok, which I have not tested out yet. You can code and analyze. You can do deep search. You can even do deeper search. You can add images. There's so much stuff you can do. Grok has gotten so much better with writing. And it's right now my second go-to behind ChatGPT. And sometimes I go to it first. Let me show you what I mean. Our first test is to ask Grok to write a story, but not just any story. I want Grok to take on the role of the best writer and storyteller that has ever existed. And I want Grok in that role to write a breathtakingly good and engrossing first chapter of a sweeping family saga about a woman who is three-dimensional as a character, real, and just leaps off the page. This is a character-driven story with real heart and emotion. So I'm leaning in to a specific type of story, but not giving the actual idea of the story or really anything about the character. So I'm being both specific and very vague. I'm hitting this think button because I do want Grok to think deeply, but I'm not going to worry about the deep research right now because I don't think it really applies. So let's just hit this. I like to see how Grok is thinking about what he or she or it is doing. It usually starts to talk about the task and what it needs to do logically and chronologically. It often corrects itself, which I think is really cool. It's going into some background of the story and the character, naming the character, giving some background information. All right. And it's come up with an idea. It's going to outline the chapter and then I think start to write it. Ultimately, what we need is a good output. And these AIs are getting better and better at the output. The real test is, does this first chapter have heart? Is this first chapter as good as a good writer and storyteller or better? All right, chapter 1, The Weight of Dust. That's a cool title. It's got a contradiction in there that creates curiosity, this curiosity gap marketing. So I like that already. Let's just read it. The train whistle pierced the crisp October air as Anna Caldwell stepped onto the platform of Eden's Hollow, her boots crunching against the frost-kissed gravel. The scent of pine and wood smoke curled around her, a bittersweet embrace from a hometown she hadn't seen in years. At 42, Anna felt the weight of her life like a suitcase she couldn't set down. Her divorce still raw, her children grown and scattered, and now her mother, Evelyn, gone forever. The station was nearly deserted, save for a few locals exchanging quiet nods, their breath puffing white in the chill. She spotted her brother Tom leaning against his pickup, his broad shoulders hunched, his face etched with grief and impatience. "You didn't have to come all this way," he said, as he took her suitcase, his voice gruff but not unkind. "We could have handled it." "She's my mother too, Tom." Anna adjusted her scarf, her tone sharper than intended. "I wanted to be here." He grunted, avoiding her gaze as he tossed her bag into the truck bed. "Suit yourself. Just didn't want to disrupt your fancy city life." The drive through Eden's Hollow was a silent parade of memories. The old mill, now a cluster of boutique shops, the town square with its weathered gazebo, the steepled church where she'd once worn a white dress and a forced smile. Some history here. Everything seemed smaller, yet the past loomed larger than ever. "How's Dad?" she asked, breaking the quiet. Tom's grip tightened on the wheel. "Not good. Been silent since Mom passed. Think he's still in shock." Anna nodded, picturing their father, Robert, stoic and unyielding, a man who's built walls instead of bridges. I think this is a good story. There's no dialogue that's meandering and useless. We have history, we have character, we have introduction, we have a good writing and good sentences, in my opinion. You might hate it, you might love it. Let me know in the comments. But I think it does a very good job. That's not the only thing that it does. Also, Grok has been very helpful with me in my blogging and article writing, not to mention emails and other types of writing. And since AI voice generators are a meta trend right now, I'm going to ask Grok to write a blog post about them. I give it a very simple, big picture set of instructions, And I've gotten pretty good results from very simple instructions. And I think you'll be impressed with what it comes up with. As you can see, Grok came up with a very long and detailed blog post. It's got a pretty good title, probably needs to be shortened for SEO. We have some bolding. I hate these little divider lines that AI's put in here. I always have to take them out. But we have what AI voice generators. That's a good place to start. Probably too much random bolding for my likes, but you can easily change that when you copy and paste into wherever you're going to post your blog post. Criteria that we use, that's good. Then we have a list of the best ones for 2025. Now, this could all be expanded, like the overview, but we got key features, pros, cons, pricing. Obviously, you'd want to check, make sure that is correct. We have Murph, Speechify, we have Lovo, Play HT, some of the main players here. So that's good. 11 Labs, good. Then we actually have a comparison table. Again, you want to make sure this information is all correct. It should be. Most of the time it is, but it's good to double check before you actually publish this. But I like that they included a comparison table, how to choose one, and then a conclusion. So yeah, I think that's pretty dang good for a very simple blog post instruction. Better instructions for your stories, your emails, your memos, whatever it is that you're trying to write, the better output you'll get. I think Grok, like many of these AI tools, is getting better, and it really impresses me right now with how it can write already. I can't wait to see where it goes.